Hey everybody, this is Toof, the country bumpkin at the Brothers Commonplace. Thanks for checking out our podcast. Just a quick disclaimer before we start though, we are a comedy podcast that covers many serious events. We aren't here to purposely offend or disrespect any of the people in our topics. We really aren't. But at the same time, we are trying to make each other laugh and crack jokes and just be goofs in a way, you know? Thanks for listening. Be good, stay safe, and try to laugh at the dark stuff.
All right, fellas, like we practiced.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4.
Come on down, come on down, hanging with the brothers tonight, yeah. Come on down to the Brothers Commonplace tonight.
Alrighty, welcome everyone to the Brothers Commonplace. We are a comedy podcast, and each week we'll be covering monsters, murderers, mysteries, and more. This week we'll be covering the Axeman of New Orleans. Now, before we jump into that, though, let's go ahead and say hello to all the brothers that are joining us today.
What's up, guys? This is Tim, or T-Dog, as I'm known around the fight club that I'm in.
This is Andrew. I'm not as cool as T-Dog over there, but I'm here too. So
He also is in the fight club, though.
But you are the fucking elemental wizard, Andrew.
that's true.
Who always supplies the thunder and fire.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's Toof. Walk backwards and you can catch me in the alley.
Dude, like,
Is that it?
that could have been a confession that he is the Axeman.
Oh,
Who the fuck
fuck.
the Axeman to?
We figured it out. We don't even need to finish.
All right, thanks for joining us this week.
Almost
And
100
I-
years late.
And I am Kevin, a.k.a. Kev Dog. I'm not in the Fight Club, but I am known as the Cleveland Strangler.
I found out some of my family is related to one of the victims.
Oh, shit, for real?
Yeah. The Maggios. My cousin Joe D is
Joe DiMaggio. Joe DiMaggio. Oh, man.
Alrighty, from 1918 and into 1919 in New Orleans, Louisiana, a serial killer stalked the streets at night, breaking into houses and murdering with an axe. And I also wrote down here for a note, go ahead and insert an ICP joke now.
There's two people here that probably do. Yeah.
So right off the bat, I'm just going to go ahead and say I think everyone should be allowed no more than 2 axe puns tonight, but you can go ahead and make as many ICP jokes or be in the first Juggalo joke that you want to. Those are all allowed, of course.
I don't know any of those jokes, so I'm just going to save my axe ones.
there's a the term yes man.
Yes.
There's a yes man, but what are you saying yes to? Like a question? So someone has to ask the question, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a yes man and an ask man.
Yeah.
Axe man.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, dude.
Alrighty, so
Cross that one off.
the
Oh, my God.
the serial
wrote that
killer
down.
in New Orleans, Louisiana, he would later be dubbed the Axeman. He was a real-life boogeyman that has never been identified, and the murders remain unsolved to this day. And he is possibly responsible for over 10 attacks as well as 6 murders. And there are a few attacks that may have not been the Axeman, and there are also a few that could possibly be him that weren't recorded as an Axeman attack. It's hard to pinpoint and narrow down.
I do find it not funny, but just a little weird that he's killing people with an axe, but almost all of them lived.
Yeah.
At least half of them lived.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. People are can't narrow it down if it's him or not him or whatnot. It's I eat Taco Bell 5 times a week, and is the diarrhea from that? Is it not? It's hard to pinpoint things sometimes.
Same thing, too. Same thing.
Damn it, dude. I'm
Yeah.
looking over at my notes.
But no, especially back then, too, because they didn't have, the advances in, medicine. So these people were surviving, without a lot of the things that we have these days. So this dude's fucking them up with an axe and they're living.
This is almost such prehistoric times. Probably 100 years earlier, being beaten with an axe was probably medicine.
Maybe that's where he came from, man. Maybe he thought he was helping.
So most of the Axeman's victims were Italian grocers, which is really weird, kind of too much of a coincidence, you would think. So that's why a lot of people think that it was possible mafia connections or even possibly racism, and that's why they were being targeted.
Is Louisiana known to be like a big Italian mob town? Because like I thought like Chicago, New York, or something like where these like the hick mobsters, or I guess there was a port there, like they could like bring in goods and supplies.
See, I don't know how many Italian grocers there really are, so I definitely don't think it's like random killings since they're all being targeted, you know?
Could it just been like was he just going after grocers and that were they just all Italian? Like, did anybody ever think of that?
I mean, we've all worked with
Like,
someone who,
yeah.
like you expect, is just gonna fucking blow up and come back and take out the whole
Exactly.
the whole company.
Like what if he was just pissed at grocers and they just all ended up being Italian? Like that could have worked out
That's
too.
true.
Yeah. Like the bag boy pissed him off,
Yeah, I was
like
just gonna say something like that.
didn't double bag.
I'll fucking cut off your head.
What if he went against Italian grocers because they were gross Italians?
Oh, dude.
Is you okay, Andrew?
Yeah, I don't know what to say after that.
Alrighty, so let's go into the MO of the Axeman. So what he would do is he would take a chisel with him, and he would chisel out one of the rectangular panels on a door, and he would break in that way. And when the police first noticed this, they originally assumed that it must have been a little person, or like a midget, I guess, that was breaking in doing the killing, because they're like, whoa, who could have fit through this rectangle? Had to have been a midget.
Dude.
Anyways, even though they later suggested, well, maybe he's just using this to cut through this
To
and
get
then
in.
to unlock the door.
Yeah.
But their first line of thought was that it was a midget doing it.
They let that get out? Like that makes him look so fucking
Yeah.
stupid. It's ridiculous.
And what's weird is that the Axeman, he would chisel out the rectangular panel in the doorway there because that would have been the weaker spot. Well, I don't really know what the doors were like back then. I imagine they were weaker, though. But he would chisel out that rectangle, and then he would just fucking leave the chisel, and he would just get a new chisel every single time that he was going through doing this.
It's crazy too. Actually, you guys probably didn't read this. I saw it on Google. But after the cops put that out, that they actually thought it was midgets because of that. They actually, the people that made the movie, a Scary Movie, actually got the Doofy character from that.
You son of a bitch. It's just really smart to get a new one every time so they can never, if you use the same one over and over, like if you, well, I don't know, did they have gloves back then?
Well, I know they said something about fingerprints. I don't really remember what, though.
They said it wasn't like used that much, but they had it.
But I don't think they really had ways of testing it yet.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense.
And the way that the Axeman would kill people is he would break into their homes. He would either murder or attack them when they were sleeping. And he would always do this attack with something that he found around the house, which was normally an axe. And so the axe that he would attack the people with was always the family's axe. Like, he never brought his own axe for it. So he just came in, he would attack them, and then leave. So that's another reason why people thought maybe it was mafia-related, because he's just kind of sending a message. Because, I mean, his kill percentage isn't really that great.
No, it's like, what, 50% tops? Like he's, I would say, or like in baseball terms, batting 500.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess that is really good, but I mean, yeah, if you look at it that way, but.
And also just want to add in that it's kind of weird that he would break in and kill people with whatever he found in their house, which, like we said, is usually an axe. So I'm glad he didn't break into my house, because it would have been embarrassing the next day to find in the newspaper that I was murdered with Pogs and Star Wars Episode 1 aluminum can collection.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
It's crazy, actually. Not a lot of people know this about me, but he did actually break into my house, and we found out that he couldn't kill me with a slinky, so...
So it is like, I mean, don't get me wrong, this whole thing is like a giant tragedy. I think the most tragic thing, though, is that my ex-girlfriend's grandma was not living in New Orleans at this time.
Oh, holy shit.
I'm
yeah,
still
dude.
salty about that. So, alrighty, before we get into the victims, I just had a question for you guys. Like, put your mind, like, pretend that you were the Axeman, the serial killer. And I just want to know, if you were the Axeman and you were breaking into these houses and you were about to kill somebody, I want to know what would be your one-liner, or what would be the thing that you would say to the victim. So, alrighty, Primo, you're up first, man. Let's go ahead and put you in the mind of a serial killer. You are now the Axeman. You're about to take out your first victim.
I mean, you have no proof of that, but No, I do kind of want to get mine out of the way first because I think mine's probably the dumbest, but also I may just be stealing all of your guys's. But this is just gonna have to be. They can't be sleeping for this, which normally they have. Been sleeping the normal victims, but I wait in the closet.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And I wait for them to get in the room, and they're walking in there, and I kind of want to leave something to where they know somebody's in there, like maybe like I knocked some shit over or whatever, so they're kind of like alert anyway.
Okay.
And they come in the room and get ready to already know where I'm going with this, but they find a rose on the bed, and like as soon as they're looking at it, like, what the fuck's this? I come run out. I'm like, nice rose, Axel.
Oh, god damn it, Primo.
Wait a sec.
Holy
You
shit.
started that story with, all right, I'm going to go first because I bet everyone has the same story.
No,
Well,
but
Axel Rose. I feel like that. I feel like everyone's thinking Axel Rose, right?
No.
That was
Not at all.
fucking good, dude.
I don't want to go next.
I mean, also me doing that in 1919 wouldn't really made that much sense.
That
but
was
it
good.
would have made
dude.
perfect sense. Cause
Made
fuck
sense
you,
to me.
Primo.
All right, Andrew Carnell, my elemental wizard. You are now the Axeman, about to take out your first victim. They're sleeping in their bed. You're standing above them, holding your axe. They wake up. What do you say?
Well, actually, I'm gonna be like hiding under the bed, but
Oh.
when they wake up, I just instantly know that, so I just
Yes. Oh,
slide
yes.
out from under the bed.
Yes.
And I like creep up, and I just say, "Chop, chop! I need to chop, chop."
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yes.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Alrighty, so here I am. I am the Axeman. First, I change up my MO a little bit. I'm only going after single women, big-breasted women.
nice.
I'm only going
Shit.
after the women with the big titties.
Nice.
Okay.
They cannot have a boyfriend or live with another guy because every guy on earth can beat my ass. So I gotta make sure they're not there. So what I do, it's like real late at night, early in the morning. She's sleeping in her bed. I sneak in, chisel out that panel, crawl in, grip my my big axe with both hands. I wait for her to wake up. She sees me, and I say, "Them are some nice titties, girl. But too bad for you, Daddy's an Axeman."
Oh, fuck.
But
Yeah.
I wait for her reaction. If she smiles, chuckles, laughs, or anything that shows she was like a little bit like, that wasn't that bad, I let her live.
Okay, yeah.
Nice.
Understandable.
If she doesn't, then I fucking kill the bitch.
Nice.
All right,
yeah,
Toof,
you
you're up,
Axeman.
brother.
Right.
The
Follow those,
Axeman.
Toof.
I got two of them.
Fuck yeah, dude. I'm excited for both.
I burst into their room.
Mm.
They wake up. We look eye to eye. It's dark, so they could probably only see my eyes because I'm wearing a lot of black clothing.
Oh, yeah.
I pick my axe up above my head in the air, and I say, "It's about time I ask you this question.
Oh my god, yeah.
Are you ready to kiss your jazz goodbye?"
Oh.
And if they don't take the axe and kill themselves for my ultimate punniness,
Fuck yeah, dude.
then I kill them myself.
Yes.
Gold.
That was great. That was great.
All right. I come into their room, and I sneak up carefully. I'm like,
Oh, this is my first kill. I can't wait to be a serial killer.
I whisper in their ear and be like,
Hey, I'm a virgin at this, so don't be scared if I bust a nut in that jazz.
Come on, dude.
Holy shit, dude. My only question to that is, does he do that every time? so he really thinks it's his first time every time? Like, wait, no, dude, we know you just killed somebody.
I walk out like the 10th kill. Like, it feels like the first time.
Alrighty, anything else before we jump into the victims real quick?
Oh, God, I want to jump in some victims.
I like how my second one sounded like I was the Axeman and I was disgruntled because they didn't saw me in my game at GameStop.
Holy shit.
We don't know that that's not what happened.
So now that you know what we're all like, and for all the listener that's still...
I mean, come on, guys. It's going to be us either way.
Hey, too, if you listen, we sound pretty good, don't we?
So the first Axeman attack, Joseph Maggio and wife Catherine Maggio. The attack took place on May 22nd, 1918. He was an Italian grocer. He was asleep in his home above his grocery store with his wife. The Axeman broke into the home and slit the sleeping couple's throats with a straight razor, and then bashed their heads in with an axe.
So I feel like that's the only time that he like was legit trying to kill somebody.
Yeah, with the and the thing is the straight razor actually belonged to Joseph's brother who lived in that same house with them. So we'll talk about him in a second.
Yeah.
And so Catherine's throat was cut so deep that she was nearly decapitated. Joseph, he survived the initial attack, actually. His two brothers that lived in the same house thought they heard some noises, so they came over to see what it was, and they found Joseph and his wife have been attacked. Unfortunately, this was 2 hours later, and as soon as they arrived, Joseph died. So the reason that they didn't come over sooner is they were really drunk. They were out partying the night before.
Yeah.
And the razor that they were killed with was one of the brothers' razors because he was a barber.
Yeah.
And so the police, when they searched the area, they didn't find anything had been stolen, even though there was money and jewels out in the open. All they found was that the bloody clothes were folded up in the bathroom, and also the bloody axe that was used to attack them. And the police had also found that the bottom panel of the kitchen door had been chiseled out. And they initially just thought that the brother, well, like, he found him. Like, you smelt it, you dealt it. You fucking killed him. So.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I heard a rumor that it wasn't blood on the axe they found. It was red paint because Joe owned a 1994 Chevy Geo. And when his brother came in, he's like, oh no, my Geo. What the hell? Someone attacked my Geo.
Wow, dude. But I mean, it does sound weird that like it took them so long to get up there because like they heard noises and like they like took a couple hours and he died while they got up there. But actually, like I read something that explains that they were actually the other two brothers were getting ready to beat the stage in the Lion King video game where where that stampede's going on. They couldn't stop playing that shit,
No,
so
it's fucking impossible.
yeah, so they had to wait.
They asked the brother, like, what noises did you hear? Why did you go in there? And he's like, well, I just thought I heard my brother taking a shit. No, that's not true. None of this stuff really happened.
I mean, the Lion King thing's true.
Yeah, that
but,
part's true.
Yeah,
Like,
that's proven fact.
This is a 1919 house. It's not like the fucking TV's going.
Yeah.
Like, you could probably hear someone come in and, like, walk up the stairs. And it's like, oh, man. And if the axe guy was supposed to be a heavyset guy, like, the stairs are probably creaking and everything.
There had to been, like, a scream in there somewhere. There had to been.
Not a scream, maybe some cream was in there.
I mean, I'm sure there probably was.
Yeah, if you were still the Axeman, Andrew.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. We haven't
always
figured out
in.
if you were just, like, one of the killings or if you did all of them.
All of them. All of them.
So the police, you'll see throughout this whole case, they never know who did it, and they kind of just arrest anyone and blame it on really anyone they can. So they're like, oh, you're here. You found him. You must have done it. Granted, it was the one guy's razor, but he did bring that razor home from work, they said, because he was going to be sharpening it. So that kind of makes sense why he had that. Yeah, I found a few reports of this, but I don't exactly know what it means, and I couldn't find anything else about it. But in chalk near the home, it was written outside, Mrs. Joseph Maggio will sit up tonight. Just right, Mrs. Tony. I have no idea what that means.
Wait, that happened?
Yeah, they found that written outside, supposedly. I didn't know what that meant, really. But yeah, they originally...
Andrew, what'd you do that for?
Yeah,
bro?
Andrew, what does that mean? Since you wrote it.
Well, right before, I did all that stuff, she had me sitting upright.
God.
Yeah, dude. Yes.
Back in this time, like, there was like a lot of like at-home salesmen, like door-to-door salesmen then, right?
You would, yeah.
Maybe.
Imagine being a lumberjack salesman. Like, you knock on the door, but like, got a new shiny axe to sell you.
Oh,
Like,
fuck yeah.
off, dude. You fucking killed my brother.
Get out of here.
I fucking know about you. Why the fuck are we all talking like this?
But yeah, since there were no witnesses and no clues, they labeled the brother as one of the main suspects. Alrighty, so we got the Axeman attack number 2. I'm probably going to mess up a lot of these names, so I apologize. Louis Bessemer, and then Anne, which I've seen in certain cases called Harriet also, so we'll just call her Anne Lowe. And that was his mistress, actually. Yeah, Louis.
It was Rob's mistress.
Louis Bessemer and Anne Lowe. Rob Lowe, Jesus. So, almost a month later, on June 28th, 1918, 2 more Italian grocers were discovered by a baker making a delivery. Both of them survived the attack despite being struck in the head multiple times. I know there's a baker joke here somewhere.
Well, no, it seems like he's getting messier and messier. Like, he just doesn't care to The first one, he slit their throats and killed them.
Yeah.
These ones, he doesn't seem as intent on killing them.
Well, yeah, see that, and that's why one of the theories is that he's not actually specifically targeting them to kill. That's why they're saying he's maybe in the mafia sending a message.
Yeah.
But how the fuck does everyone survive like 10 shots to the head with an axe?
Especially then. I feel like now we wouldn't even. Like then, were there just shittier axes then that we don't know about?
I want to reveal some of this later, but no, I believe that like you don't kill him because if you kill him, then no one knows who killed him. Oh, some guy killed him with an axe. But like if you leave him alive, then you spread terror and like you get fame.
I mean, I feel like it's still gonna spread terror though. They're gonna know he did it with an axe.
And the thing is, well, he uses their axe and he leaves it every time.
Yeah, but if you leave that in somebody's face, like that's gonna spread a lot of fucking terror.
And he never steals. Like he doesn't steal money or jewelry or anything. And
he's
all
a
the people, he is a gentleman. And
The only thing he's stealing is women's hearts because he's a gentleman.
and
Or sneaking farts.
and the people that do survive, they're so beaten the fuck up, they don't remember what he looks like. And also, I had a theory that maybe the axes back then were made of wheat since they survived so many hits.
Oh, they're made of wool.
All I know is when we worked at Bob's, when we had the bread man come in, I feel like all of us could have been murdered and he wouldn't notice.
Oh, yeah.
He would come in and he would deliver the bread in like 2 seconds and then
that
be
dude,
gone.
Yeah, I'll say that dude,
That
he
guy's
didn't
an
give
asshole.
a fuck. Yeah.
He did not give a fuck.
He could have came in there and everybody in there was on fire and there's a fire extinguisher right by the bread. He'd still deliver that shit and fucking leave.
Well,
dude.
here's
Yeah,
your Kaiser buns.
Yeah.
I got a joke. You said like how weak the Axeman's hits were, and like you were mentioning earlier about like it has to be a girl because you can't fight for shit or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like the Axeman's axe is made out of your punches.
Oh, Jesus. Alrighty, so Louis Bassumer and his mistress Ann Lowe both survived the attack. Police were desperate to find the attacker and eventually believed that Louis was possibly the Axeman, despite being almost killed himself. The reason that the police eventually turned on him was because they found a trunk full of letters at his home, and the letters were written in German, Russian, and Yiddish, and police decided that they believed he was a German Nazi spy, so it must have been him.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to go with that.
Fuck that.
That makes sense. That makes so much sense.
I
in
mean,
the
like,
case.
I know, like, every time I don't want to get in trouble for something I did, I hit myself in the face with an axe. You always get out of trouble with that.
Is Yiddish Jewish?
I'm not quite sure. But back to what Tim said, I do agree with that. You always do get out of trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
So if he was the Axeman, why wouldn't he make sure his mistress was dead? Because she survived for a while. We'll get to that. But like, don't you think he would at least like cut her head off?
Yeah, because he's gonna have to fuck himself up afterwards if he's the one that did it. So yeah, you would think he would, definitely make sure she died.
So the police thought that he was the Axeman, or maybe not specifically the Axeman, but he was responsible for the attack on his mistress at least, because while in and out of consciousness at the hospital, Harriet Lowe told the police that Bassumer was indeed a German spy. So he was arrested, and then he was released 2 days later because there's absolutely no evidence to back it up.
And she was in the hospital after getting hit in the head with a fucking, like, axe. Like,
exactly.
I feel like, I mean, at that point, your brain's going to think a lot of shit. And especially because they say that he had, like, been kind of, like, domestic, like, violent and stuff like that. Like, wasn't there something about that?
Maybe. I don't remember. But, I mean, you're questioning, and they're probably, like, they have no idea who's doing it. They're desperate to find out who the Axeman who's doing this is. So I imagine they're just, like, desperately being like, who did this? What'd you see? And, like, they don't remember anything.
Yeah, and she's not even coherent, like, at all.
Yeah, I just heard that she was just tired of him, like, doing his role play of him being in the Gestapo all the time, so...
Who would get tired of that, dude?
Axeman sounds like a bad guy.
Yes, he does, Jeremiah. Yes, he does. So, we are not done yet. In August, 1 month later, Harriet, suffering from a failed surgery, was dying. But before she passed, she told the police that, yes, she was indeed attacked that night by Louis Bassumer. So, once again, he was arrested. But this time, not for just the domestic violence, but this time was for actually being the Axeman. He ended up serving 9 months in prison, but he was acquitted on May 1st, 1919, after a 10-minute jury deliberation.
Wow, 10 minutes.
So, as far as from reading it, I'm pretty sure they said he was arrested twice.
Yeah.
Like the first time for attacking / leading to the killing of her, and then because she said that he was the one that attacked her.
Is that double jeopardy?
Axeman.
Kind of feel like that's double jeopardy. Maybe
Maybe.
it didn't exist then. I know
Yeah, I don't
I know
know.
the movie wasn't out yet. So.
Well, it was out on VHS.
Oh,
I
okay.
believe.
We'll ask Ashley Judd then too.
Laserdisc.
The
No.
after the second attacks, the public had a initials for the Axeman's attacks, FHRITP, which in longhand was fucker right in the pussy.
Come on, dude. She's dead. Jeremiah, she's dead.
Well, yeah. Apparently, you can add necrophilia to his long list of crimes.
Yeah,
No, he
exactly.
didn't,
Wait.
okay? He's not fucking.
Wait, is it Tooth now?
If Tooth was the Axeman, then yes.
Yes.
But
Dude, if his sex was like anything like his axe killings, she would look like Swiss cheese.
Jesus Christ. Let's get real. Let's get
Okay.
back on track to take
My
this
bad.
serious. The
Okay.
next Axeman attack. Mrs. Ed Schneider was a victim. But that's a Rob Schneider joke. Mrs.
Okay,
Ed
yeah.
Schneider. August 5th, 1918, found by her husband in the afternoon at their home. She was still alive and she would survive the attack. She was also 8 months pregnant, and the baby would survive the attack as well. And 1 week later, Mrs. Schneider gave birth.
I found out actually that was not the Axeman. That was actually Doc Brown and Marty McFly. They were going back to actually stop. That was actually Rob Schneider's grandparents. They wanted all that to end. So
Marty, we have to go back.
they actually had gone in the future and they saw the animal, so they figured they figured it needed to be done.
Like
So-
after the first Deuce Bigelow, they thought like, you know what? This is like he's right on the thin line between us going back and us not going back.
He almost was okay with the hot chick, but I mean,
I was sitting in the room with Marty McFly and Doc Brown, and I kept hearing them say, Holocaust or Rob Schneider's grandparents? Yeah, we know which one to take care of.
God.
We can only pick one, Marty.
Sorry, Marty.
Oh,
Marty,
damn.
we only have enough plutonium to pick one.
I think they chose correctly, but they ended up fucking it up.
I
So
guess to be fair, Marty was like, well, we'll flip a coin. And then when the coin was in the air, Doc Brown just snatched it and said, get in the car. So I don't know if we can keep any of this bit in.
Yes, we
I feel like
can.
we have to keep all of that bit in.
Alrighty. Axeman attack number 4, Joseph Romano. August 10th, 1918, just 5 days later. Joseph was an elderly man, and he was found with his head beaten in. His 2 nieces that lived with him heard a noise and came running in to find him. They also stated to see the attacker as he was fleeing. The attacker was quoted as dark, tall, heavyset, wearing a dark suit and a black slouch hat. So this part's kind of fucked up. After the attack, Joseph was still alive, and he was able to walk to the ambulance, but then he died 2 days later. It's like maybe you don't let this old fucker walk to the ambulance after getting his head beaten in.
Yeah, I probably just took the last of the life out of him just to do that.
And once again, a back panel was chiseled out and a bloody axe was found. So this time they have a couple witnesses, his 2 nieces. I don't know how old the nieces were. I don't know if they were like little kids or what. But they said they saw a dark, tall, heavy-set man wearing a dark suit and a black hat. I don't picture him as like most serial killers. I always picture him looking more like elegant and more intelligent and badass than they do. And then you see him, they look like Ed Gein. And
Except for Ted Bundy, he was a good-looking
Ted
fucker.
Bundy was a good looking.
Yeah.
He was very charismatic. as
Yeah,
well.
which is fucking crazy. Like, 'cause when you talk about think about that, they didn't know why he did it.
Yeah, we'll do a Ted Bundy one eventually.
Yeah, we'll have to.
But for some reason, I picture fucking Val Kilmer in Tombstone. I have no idea why.
Yeah, it is weird about like an attractive killer. Like the only honest attractive killer I know is probably Katy Perry. That's just because she killed her own career, though.
Damn.
I had to add that one in.
Damn, Toof. But his outfit or the description does kind of fit like the mob or mafia one.
Yeah.
that-
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that's probably that, and the fact that he doesn't always kill him, like that probably is where that started.
So at this time, the media was in a bit of a frenzy. People are reporting sightings all over, saying they saw the Axeman. They also say, hey, I saw so-and-so carrying an axe at night. The whole city's in a bit of a chaos and hysteria. People are reported finding, like, axes, like, on their property that were left there. Also, chisel marks on back doors were found.
I was gonna say the chisel thing. Like, once again, it's 1919. You're not playing the fucking boombox. Like, someone is chiseling your fucking back door.
Oh yeah,
like,
you hear that?
A hammer and chisel, just boom, boom, boom. But oh man, the fucking construction right next door, pissing me off.
Like, I never understood either, unless he did it like Shawshank Redemption, waits for the fucking lightning and thunder.
Dude.
But that would take like a full week and a half full of thunder to be able to chisel one of those.
Yeah, a lot of these people should have definitely heard.
So he hammered and chiseled their door, attacked them, and then people finally got around to like catching him at the very end of that. That's like 30 minutes of work. Like, what fucking attack, like death, Italian grocery.
And I feel like a lot of the stories were like the wife waking up to like the husband being attacked. So like it took you that fucking long. If somebody sneezes in my living room and I'm in my room, I fucking hear that shit when I'm sleeping. Like, it is pretty crazy.
Extra police were being put out on patrol. Families are being divided into watches. People are standing guard while others sleep. People would hear about sightings, and then they would go out. They would pack shotguns, and they would go out and like mobs try to find them, stuff like that.
Shit.
So a few people had noticed that there were chisel marks in their doors also, but they were never attacked. So maybe the attacker, the Axeman, was scared off. Maybe it was too risky for him or things like that. There's also a few cases where people said they saw someone trying to sneak in their window, so they shot at him and then he ran off. So alrighty, we are on the 5th attack, which there's been a lot more sightings and attacks. These are just kind of like the main ones. The 5th attack was I forget how to pronounce it, so I'm going to apologize. I think it's the Cortimiglia family. The night of March 10th, 1919. Charles, his wife Rosie, and their 2-year-old daughter Mary, they were attacked. Rosie awoke in the middle of the night to find her husband Charles under attack and struggling against a large man in dark clothing wielding an axe. I don't know why I wrote in parentheses, "My axe is my body."
Oh, no, I heard I heard he yelled that.
Actually, so Rosie awoke in the middle of the night to find her husband Charles under attack and struggling against a large man in dark clothing. She wiped her eyes and opened her ears and heard, "My axe is my body."
That's better. That's what happened.
So Charles is taken down, falls to a bloody mess on the floor. Rosie, she is scared. She held her 2-year-old daughter in her arms, begging for mercy from the Axeman. But the Axeman shows no mercy, and he attacked them both and left. Unfortunately, 2-year-old Mary did not survive the attack. Charles survived, and Rosie did.
One thing I'm noticing is, I think I'm correct on this, he tries to kill or damage them both, but he always attacks the guy first.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, kind of smart when you think about it.
So he takes out his threat and then attacks the girls, but like there's no evidence of like sexual assault either. Like weird.
No,
it doesn't seem
like he's just killing to kill.
Yeah, he's not a rapist,
and he's not even like killing necessarily.
Except for the 2-year-old.
Yeah, I mean he does kill, but I feel like if he was doing it just to kill, if they're sleeping, why not just like chop their fucking neck?
Yeah, exactly.
Know?
Yeah.
Now, besides being
I like how we're critiquing the serial killer.
Like, what the fuck, man? When Andrew does this, man.
Yeah, I would have been better. I'd have been better man of X.
When you go back to a couple of victims ago where the nieces saw him and he like ran off. Like I wonder like why he didn't try to kill them, because it's clear that he's not afraid to kill a kid.
I know. I'm just glad that he showed those to his little buddy.
Maybe it's also because he wasn't supposed to kill them.
Yeah,
that kind of does.
Like, if they're all Italian grocers.
Yeah.
Then like you're sending a message to like another Italian grocer, we'll fucking kill you too. So.
Yeah. Well, I think also like that 2-year-old may have like been really into just some shit. So he was just taking out his fucking taking out his competition.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure she was a Warriors fan. So anyways.
Well, I guess we can all side with the Axeman on that one. But what if she used the kid as a shield?
Oh my god. Holding it out.
You can't kill me, my daughter.
She just like Lion King's the kid. Oh yeah.
So, speaking of grocers, this was also a grocery family. A grocer across the street heard the screams and rushed over to help. Sadly, he was too late. He found Charles on the floor covered in blood and Rosie standing in the doorway holding her deceased child.
I don't know why, but just because it's 1919, like, rush to the hospital. Like, they got their Amish buggy as quick as possible.
Yeah, dude.
7 days later, they arrived 4 blocks to the hospital.
That's what I'm saying. Like, these fuckers are all living, too.
Rush him to the hospital. Jump on my back. Grab the pogo stick.
What if it's...
They just get like a 100-foot ladder and just drop it where they are. I don't know where I'm going with this at all.
They climb the ladder.
Dude, I mean, I don't remember what these are called, and this joke sounds funny because I don't remember what they're called. But what if somehow that guy like literally like had them like he was giving them piggyback rides, but he has those shoes that have those wheels on them, and that's how he got there?
Heelys?
Yeah, Heelys. That was it.
Dude, like, it's like 1919. Like, they survived the axe attack, but they died to the modern medicine men.
Which, as you said earlier, was more axe attacks.
Wait, hang on. Let me make sure these guys are all right. Just keeps fucking hitting them with it.
Hand me the hatchet. Don't worry. Hey, what was her name? Don't worry, Mrs. Cormalingo, whatever the fuck her name is. We're gonna save you. Hand me the hatchet.
One thing I'm noticing about all these killings, like June, July, August 10th, March 10th, August 10th, like, what is he, a fucking bear? Does he just hibernate in the winter and then come out and kill people?
So, nothing was stolen from the home, but once again, a chiseled out panel and a bloody axe were found on the scene. While at the hospital, Rosie claimed that Orlando, however you pronounce it, the grocer who found them, and his 18-year-old son Frank were the two that attacked him that night. But Orlando is 69 years old, and his son is over 6 feet tall and over 200 pounds, so neither of them match any of the descriptions. Frank was too big to fit through that little panel, if that's how they got in, and Orlando was just too damn old.
Yeah. Did any of the doors just not fucking have panels?
Wouldn't it be like easier and almost quieter just to fucking chop off like the doorknob and make it open or something?
Yeah, like I feel like why is he going for this? Like I feel like he's just making it harder on himself. Like he just wants to be caught.
But I also like that besides the fact that these two people, the next door grocers, were trying to save them.
Yeah.
And they were initially thought as suspects. But the reason that they weren't is like, there's no way he could have fit through that panel and he's just too fucking old.
Yeah.
I like that's the reasoning.
It's just like the grandma from fucking Happy Gilmore. Just too old.
And besides all that, Charles, Rosie's husband, said that the man he battled with that night was neither Orlando or his son Frank. So the husband straight up said, no, it wasn't either of those two that attacked me. It was one guy, but Rosie's was not willing to admit that. She said it was both of them that did it. So the police went ahead and arrested the two and charged them with murder anyways. Both were found guilty. I forget, one of them was sentenced to hang. The other one got, like, not life, but a lot of time in prison. So both were found guilty. And after the trial, Charles was, like, so pissed off at his wife for it that he just he divorced her for it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it sucks. You lost your kid, so you're super, like, not in the right state of mind. But they're both split on who the killer is, and the wife is saying they did it.
Yeah, I feel like he would probably know more. You would think.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, almost a year later, Rosie admitted she falsely accused the two out of jealousy and spite for being rival grocers across
What
the
a
street.
fucking bitch!
Yeah, right?
What a bitch!
Oh, I'll show those fucking grocers. There's only one grocery store in our town.
So, like, she, like, straight up, like somebody killed her kid. And instead of having the police actually look for the one that did it, she's like, dude, wait a second.
Yeah.
There's that fucking grocery store across the street, man.
What a heinous bitch. Sounds like my ex-girlfriend's grandmother. Still salty. So, once again, Italian grocers being murdered and attacked.
Well, that just makes it look like, was it that wife killing off all these other people, hiring somebody else?
Like, what if it was that bitch?
Because, I mean, they were all in the same,
Yeah, like,
area.
she paid somebody, and then that time she just, like... Because, yeah, like, what happened to her?
No, actually, it's a different girl.
Because he didn't have a lot happen. Yeah. He survived pretty
well,
right?
he got the shit beat out of him.
Yeah,
he survived. She wasn't attacked.
Yeah, see, Andrew...
Was she attacked too?
No, I think she Lion King the baby, I think is what...
Yeah.
So like for one, maybe the kid just cried too fucking much, you know, and like maybe she's like let me get this out of the way too. But like I like Andrew's theory, like maybe she was just fucking doing it all.
I like to picture it that like the Axeman attacked the guy and he looks back, he sees the mom and kid and he's leaving. As the Axeman's leaving, the mom is like, "Here, take my baby, but let me live." And he comes back and just
like he was already out of the house. She yells through the panel. She yells through the fucking hole that he had made.
So, nobody has no idea who the attacker really is. People are claiming that it was a man, a woman, a midget, multiple people. Some even claim that it was actually a real-life monster doing all this.
I agree with this.
New Orleans was once again filled with fear and terror. And on Friday, March 14th, 1919, the editor of the New Orleans Times-Picayune, that's probably not how you pronounce that at all, received a letter from the Axeman himself and had it printed. They claim that they had gotten a letter from the Axeman himself, and this is what it said.
Was the letter written in Comic Sans by chance? Because that could narrow down who it is.
Dan Gilbert. The Axeman's letter. Hell, March 13th, 1919. Esteemed mortal, they have never caught me, and they never will. They have never seen me, for I am invisible, even as the ether that surrounds your earth. I am not a human being, but a spirit and a demon from the hottest hell. I am what you Orleanians and you foolish police call the Axeman. And I'm reading it in this weird accent because I don't know why, he reminds me of Val Kilmer from Tombstone, even though that doesn't fit his description at all. When I see fit, I shall come and claim other victims. I alone know whom they shall be. I shall leave no clue except my bloody axe, besmeared with the blood and brains of he whom I have sent below to keep me company. If you wish, you may tell the police to be careful not to rile me. Of course, I am a reasonable spirit. I take no offense at the way they have conducted their investigations in the past. In fact, they have been so utterly stupid as to not only amuse me, but His Satanic Majesty, Francis Joseph, etc. But tell them to beware. Let them not try to discover what I am, for it were better that they were never born than to incur the wrath of the Axeman. I don't think there is any need of such a warning, for I feel sure the police will always dodge me, as they have in the past. They are wise and know how to keep away from all the harm. Undoubtedly, you Orleanians think of me as the most horrible murderer, which I am, but I could be much worse if I wanted to. If I wished, I could pay a visit to your city every night. At will, I could slay thousands of your best citizens, for I am in close relationship with the Angel of Death. Now, to be exact, at 12:15 earthly time on next Tuesday night, I'm going to pass over New Orleans. In my infinite mercy, I'm going to make a little proposition to you people. Here it is. I am very fond of jazz music, and I swear by all the devils in the nether regions that every person shall be spared in whose home a jazz band is in full swing at the time I have just mentioned. If everyone has a jazz band going, well, then so much better for you people. One thing is certain, and that is that some of you people who do not jazz it on Tuesday night, if there be any, will get the axe. Well, as I am cold and crave the warmth of my native Tartarus, and it is about time I leave your earthly home, I will seize my discourse, hoping that thou wilt publish this, that it may go well with thee. I have been, am, and will be the worst spirit that ever existed, either in fact of realm of fancy. The Axeman.
Tartarus is the Greek and Roman version of hell, just like the deepest, darkest part of it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for letting us know that, Andrew. So, what do you guys think about that letter?
It was, I mean, very well written.
Yeah,
you know?
that's the thing. It is written very well. It's pretty. It's creepy. It's cool. I like it.
It almost makes me think that if it were the actual real Axeman that wrote the letter, you know, it was actually him, like writing it, and he wasn't just saying somebody, hey, write this, you know, really, really awesome written letter. Makes you think it's not a mob guy because they're probably not that smart.
One thing about this is, like, he needs to have a different day job because he fucking sucks at axe killing. So he's a good writer.
Let's say, yeah, exactly.
And then again, there are...
Wait, what was Stephen King doing then?
Oh.
No.
He's fucking weird looking. You ever see just Stephen King's face? It's
Yeah,
fucking...
yeah.
It looks like it's...
motherfucker.
Yeah,
Like, it looks like it melted, like when he was like 5. It's weird. Anyways, there's really no proof that the Axeman actually wrote this letter. It is pretty cool, though. I mean, they published it in the newspaper. A lot of people loved it. I mean, they were scared of it. I mean, people now love it, but I mean, back then people were like terrified of it. But yeah, people all over town, they followed the letter. Jazz clubs were packed. Stores, restaurants, and other clubs were just full of everyone that night. People were gathering to, quote, jazz it up. So people were hanging out all night. There were people outside jamming instruments, like bands all over, and not a single person was attacked or murdered that night on March 19th. So... Hell yeah.
I heard that was also the day that DJ Jazzy Jeff was born, so throwing that out there.
What if this is like the weirdest, most twisted marketing campaign ever? Like a jazz nightclub owner, like, man, like, we might be a dying breed here. He's like, what can I do?
Oh my God.
It's like, just start killing people. Like, don't kill them.
Kill a couple of them.
that
letter, I'm coming home.
that was actually That was actually a theory that they said like to raise like awareness, to get people interested in jazz again and jazz clubs, that they put this letter in to try and bring people in. It worked.
Yeah,
So if that's true, I also like to envision that like there's a guy writing a letter and his friend is like maybe like a pretzel vendor. He's like, yo, at the end, tell the Axeman, tell him to eat pretzels or something like that, you know? They should have added that in. P.S.
Yeah,
Eat
I like
pretzels tonight.
I wish back then there was a killer for dirty underwears, man. That way they could spread more awareness about it. That way my brother could fucking do his laundry.
What the fuck? Alrighty. So the 6th official Axeman attack was on a man named Steve Boca. Can anyone go ahead and take a guess at what his profession is?
I heard that he was a professional lacrosse player.
No. Timmy,
damn it.
yours is incorrect. What about Andrew? Do you have a guess?
Shit, yeah. Was he a fixer for, like, did he build, like, the Model T?
No, he did
Yeah,
not build the Model T. That
fuck,
was
man,
no,
I thought
but
Andrew
very
was
good
right.
guess. Toof.
Was he an axe killer?
No, no.
Was he Orville Redenbacher?
He was not. He was actually an Italian grocer.
Oh,
Fuck,
Yeah.
man. No idea.
Yeah, the only reason I knew is because I had it wrote down in notes. I actually thought he invented trees. So, or at the very least, topsoil.
Oh,
So, here we go. August 10th. Steve awoke to a dark figure standing over him in his bed. He was struck in the head multiple times and was knocked unconscious. That's so fucking scary. Like,
yeah, dude.
everyone that gets attacked by the Axeman wakes up, the dude's just standing over you. Like, there's nothing fucking scary in that.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
So upon waking up from being unconscious, Steve ran to the home of his neighbor asking for help, and that's where Steve fell unconscious again. Steve did not remember any details of the attack either. They searched the scene. They found a panel on his back door had been chiseled away, and no items or valuables were taken.
So wait, yet again, this axe dude's progressively doing less shit to these people.
He just
beat the shit out of
Yeah.
them, and not like, I mean, yeah, it sucks, but he didn't try and
Yeah.
cut him or
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, he's actually doing more of the fucking doors, dude. Like
Yeah.
the door panel. Like I feel like he's doing enough to kill the people just to the doors.
And like they
Like-
asked Steve, like if he remembered like who the attacker was, any descriptions. And he said, I think it was an Asian gang or something.
Oh,
I'm
my-
pretty sure they were Asian.
Fuck yeah, dude.
No,
Cable
they
guy.
had no idea who it was. So the 7th official attack was a girl named Sarah Lawman, I believe. She was 19 years old. This was on September 3rd. Somebody broke in through her window and beat her head in. They knocked out a few of her teeth as well. A bloody axe was found in the front yard, and she could not recall any details from the attack. So she doesn't really fit being Italian or a grocer. She was beaten up by an axe, and they did find a bloody axe there. But the guy came in through the window, which is not his normal MO.
See, I would like to ask though, like going back to like what Kev said earlier, did she have big tits? Like, was it you?
I'm
that
not
out there.
quite sure about that one.
Okay, just throwing it out there.
I like that.
So the 8th and final Axeman attack was on Mike Pepitone, also a grocer.
Oh, Mike Peppercorn.
Mike Peppercorn. He was attacked on October 27th. He was beaten and murdered while he was sleeping. His wife, Esther, heard a noise and ran into the room. Mike was struck in the head 18 times, and the whole room was splattered and covered with blood.
Like, after 18 times, like, she's just sitting there knitting and living. She's like, what is he doing?
Exactly. I should probably go check after this 18th
I wonder
noise
who
I've
the
heard.
fuck chipped the panel off my door and went in the back bedroom.
The police asked her, like, didn't you hear noises? Why didn't you go in there? She said, well, I thought he was just taking a shit.
18 plops later.
Yeah, exactly.
But the attack was most likely not done with an axe, but with a pipe with a heavy nut on the end of it, based on the descriptions of his dead, beaten body.
I heard the reason why she didn't go in there is she thought he was having a heavy nut. So
So Esther claimed that she had witnessed 2 figures leaving the room, but she could not identify them. Fortunately, though, Mike's wife and 6 kids that were all in the other room were left unharmed. And that is when Axeman attacks all stopped. Usually for serial killers, when attacks stop, it's either because they're either thrown in jail, they're killed, or they moved away and continued their spree somewhere else. So we do have a small list of suspects to talk about. Did anyone want to talk about anything before we jump into that?
I did kind of just want to like say how weird it is that one just random 19-year-old chick was in there.
Yeah.
Wasn't everybody else a grocer besides her?
And that's one of the theories, is that the Axeman was done by multiple people. So like some people were saying like, all right, well, they got this Axeman, everyone knows his MO.
Yeah.
We're gonna use that as an excuse to
Yeah,
go
to,
out
like,
and
go out and do
murder
shit.
who we
Yeah.
want to kill.
Yeah, that
so
made
that's
more
why a lot of
sense.
people think that there's like copycat killers in a way.
It was noted in the Esther and Mike attacks, the pipe with the nut on it was the same equipment used at a carnival 3 blocks down the road.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
this
that
is legit?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that kind of fits in because like most of the time he kills them with whatever's found on the property,
just
like an
found it a
axe.
little earlier.
So that was located a couple blocks away, I believe.
Yeah.
One
Yeah. Let's go ahead.
One theory I have, I saw that a lot of we'll say half the houses are on the corner. So I almost wonder if like he was just walking down the road and like with a corner house you get 2 sides, so you get windows and front doors and everything. So like he can kind of like case the joint, and then if he decides that like, oh, there's only 2 people living here, you know, like they're in separate rooms or something, I can kill them. He just walks a block and then grabs an axe, because I guess everyone fucking chopped wood back then. For that last one, he could have been walking past the carnival, saw a house, seen people were in it, and be like, oh, I'll just walk back to the carnival. I could grab something there.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. Yeah.
All right, so some of the victims we got. The first one was Louis Bessemer. He is not the Axeman, but they thought maybe he murdered his wife. So he was a suspect for a while. Also, the grocers that lived next door that the wife said killed him, even though the husband said they didn't, they were not convicted for it, actually. They were let go. This gets a little weird. This person we have not talked about yet. His name is Joseph Mumphrey. I've also seen him named Frank Mumphrey. I guess he's had a lot of aliases. But more than a year later in Los Angeles, a man named Joseph Mumphrey was shot to death. It was later found out that the person that killed him was the widow of Mike Pepitone, the Axeman's final victim. So we have a connection right there. 2 years after Mike Pepitone's death, Esther's current husband, named Angelo, had disappeared. Before Angelo disappeared, his wife stated that Angelo had ended business relations with a man named Joseph Mumphrey. So there's kind of like all these weird small connections right here. And in December of 1921, Joseph Mumphrey showed up to Esther's house, demanded money and jewelry, and threatened to, quote, "I will kill you the same way that I killed your husband." But then Esther just was like, fuck this, fuck you. She pulled out a gun and just shot and killed him. Esther was arrested for killing him, and while in custody, she claimed that Joseph was indeed the Axeman and said that she remembered him leaving during the attack on her husband, Mike. The only problem is that she also said that night that she saw 2 men leaving. So she's kind of not very... She has holes in all of her stories, and she changes it up a lot. And upon investigation, the police found that Mumphrey led a blackmailing gang in New Orleans that preyed on Italians. So there is a big web of connections here.
Yeah.
But there's just not any proof that he actually was the one that went out and killed it or did all this stuff. And plus, it's kind of all her word, what she's saying. And then also the little bit about the blackmailing. I have no idea what a blackmailing gang is. Or what
I'm pretty sure they were called the He-Man Woman Haters.
Spanky.
What's Mumphrey's first name?
Joseph. Or Frank. I've seen it listed as.
Or man-eating chicken.
Let me be frank.
Actually, I got this shirt from Frank. Mumphrey, he was in and out of prison for many years, and all the murders took place during times when he was out of prison. But there's just not enough evidence to actually link him to being the Axeman. So the murders just all kind of quit. They never been found out who was responsible for it, who the Axeman was. Kind of faded out and disappeared.
Yeah.
Doesn't that happen a lot, though, with serial killers? Like, they just stop and nobody ever fucking...
Well, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of, unsolved cases, but like I said, most time with serial killers, they're either in jail, they get put in jail, so that's when the murder stopped, or they're killed, or they move away.
Yeah.
That's true,
Most serial killers don't just stop.
And a lot of times they with ones that have gotten away with it, even if they stop the killing, they still mock the police. But then why? Why would they just stop?
Jason Voorhees never stopped.
I mean, yeah, but we never got a chance to ask him why though, man.
So what are you guys' main theories? What do you think about who did it? Or I mean, there's really, yeah. Sorry.
I've got a solid theory. Esther, her husband's a grocer, right? I believe it was Rose who was jealous of other grocers in the area, and that's why she blamed the 2 guys.
Yes.
Well, I have a theory that is also Esther's MO.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she is part of the Axeman.
Mm.
I believe that she hired Joseph Mumfries as a hitman to do some killings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she also did some killings because a small woman could probably fit through a hole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. That's
And-
why a lot of people originally thought it was either a woman or a midget, because to get through the small rectangle in the door.
When she said there was 2 people, that's where she fucked up. Because she was said 2 people, meaning her and Joseph. But she should have just said 1. That way it would have made it a little bit less obvious.
Yeah.
But
Could
yeah,
be.
I think it's actually her and him.
Yeah.
And she tried to do a little bit of because like if he's a blackmailer publicly, like if they're hitmen, they probably like go to a store and be like, hey, give us $50 a month or we're gonna come and beat your shit up or something. So she kind of knew that he knew grocers around the area and how much control and stuff they had and probably where they lived.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that kind of just messes with me, like I think something with the mafia / multiple killers, because nothing was ever stolen. There's no money stolen or
Yeah.
jewelry taken ever, which is just weird. So it seems more to me like people were just trying to send a message to Italian grocers, and then at the same time, other people were like, well, there's this fucking serial killer going out killing people, and now's my chance. I can probably kill somebody and get away with it.
Because they're
Or-
just going to think it's him.
Yeah.
Which that does make a lot of sense. I think the one with the most evidence is that it's a monster that turns into smoke and gets under the door. No.
Is that real?
Yeah, that was one of the ones. Yeah, they thought it was like a fucking monster.
Yeah, some claim
Yeah.
because in his letter he also talks about being a monster. So
Yeah.
some people thought he was a legit
Yeah.
boogeyman, demon monster or something.
So I mean that has the most evidence.
I mean,
but
we
no.
don't have proof he's not.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but yeah, going back to like, I agree with what Andrew said and what Toof said a lot with the wives and maybe they like somehow wanted to get rid of like the other grocers and maybe even that girl's husband.
Yeah.
Like that, I think that has like solid like evidence that could be true. I don't think every one of the killings was the same person.
Yeah, I agree
Like
with
at
that.
all. Especially the 19-year-old girl. Like
Yeah.
that's the weirdest one for me.
I mean, I think all the grocers are done by the same person, because it makes weird to just hunt Italian
Yeah.
grocers if it's not related.
Uh.
But the girl definitely doesn't fit.
Did they say how he got into the house for the 19-year-old girl? Did he still get
through
in?
the window.
Yeah,
that
so
one
that's
doesn't fit
different,
the
too.
MO either.
Yeah,
They said that
yeah.
one came through the window.
Yeah, so he came in. He didn't even come in through the freaking.
Yeah.
Like come on, that guy's chiseling every fucking door.
I'm
If we're-
outside of your window.
Oh my god! Yeah. So does it have like I don't know? I don't think it's the same person that
Yeah.
with the 19-year-old girl. I think that was like a guy that like she said no to or something.
Yeah.
I think like that just tried to kill her. So definitely, I think there's more than one.
Yeah. So Andrew, why did you go in through the window?
Because I couldn't fit through the fucking door.
That was a smaller door.
Oh
that time.
yeah.
There's got to be like maybe a chick and a dude, because the very first killing was super brutal,
Yeah.
really brutal, cutthroat, bashed to shit. They didn't survive either. That one didn't.
No.
Right? Okay. Well, the other ones, at least one person did.
Yeah.
Or died later. So they progressively got less brutal. So you could tell it wasn't. You
Yeah.
know, when a man's gonna beat the shit out of your head, a woman's gonna have a hard time with an axe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially back then, those things were fucking heavy. As
Oh
shit.
yeah. I mean that makes a lot of sense.
Unless
And I-
like they didn't have back then, I'm not sure. Unless the axes didn't have like a sharp end back then, like maybe it was just like a shoe on like a broom or something. That was an axe. Then
Wait.
I would understand like 20 hits to the head.
Wait, what are you talking about back then? That's what mine is.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but that's because we're poor.
That's true. That's why, like, when I say I'm going for firewood, you don't see me for like a long time. But no, I do like Andrew's idea though too, like about the wives, and then Toof's idea about that as well. Like, I do think that that's a good idea. And maybe even maybe the only time the girls actually got involved and actually did the stuff was maybe to that 19-year-old girl. Maybe that's why
Yeah.
it's different.
Yeah,
Like,
who knows? We'll
yeah.
never know either.
I mean, not until we Andrew finally tells us
Yeah.
what happened.
Once we discover Andrew's fucking journal that he actually labeled Axeman journal.
Yeah.
But the thing is like even like some people say like, well, maybe a journal will show up one day, because sometimes that happens. But there's like no evidence that would even be true either.
Yeah.
Like this Axeman letter, even though it's awesome and I fucking love it.
Yeah, dude.
I don't believe I believe that was just made up.
Yeah, it had to. I mean, I really do think that was like some way just to get people to like listen to jazz and go to the jazz clubs.
There was no why would they pretend like he's like a demonic spirit or something? Because in that letter, they act like he's some type of demon.
And yeah,
well, he was the first Juggalo, though. I do believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like,
Okay,
I
well,
mean,
that explains
but
it.
going back to that, like, I mean, like when Manson killed people, like, well, he didn't even do it, but when Manson had people kill people, like he wanted them to leave something like sinister, like writing pig and like blood and stuff like that on the wall. But like, if the guy was gonna say that he was all this like satanic and stuff like that in that note, you would think he would leave stuff like that at the crime scene. Like somehow, like something like satanic. I guess he didn't have to, but you would think maybe he would.
I wish in like an alternate world, like the Axeman was actually like a member of like REO Speedwagon,
Oh, fuck
but like
yeah.
they weren't taken off as quickly. So in the letter, he's like, "Come, and maybe we could just listen to more REO Speedwagon, and I won't kill you guys."
Also, you said you might have been the first Juggalo. Don't discredit yourself, right, man?
Yeah.
But so this is like two main things we know about the Axeman. He likes jazz,
Yes.
and he's not really a good swing with the axe.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, are we gonna rule out Stevie Wonder? Or no?
Oh, I think that is a good note to end on.
Yeah.
Let's end on a high note.
All right, good.
So we thank everyone for listening and checking us out. We are the Brothers Commonplace, and we're going to be releasing a podcast every week. We are a comedy podcast, but we will be covering murders, mysteries, monsters,
McDonald's.
and more. McDonald's and other things that begin with the letter M.
Yeah.
Jabronis.
But that's a J.
Is it though? Is it?
Anaconda
Are we-
jabronis.
Okay.
It's an anaconda. Don't want none. Let's got buns on.
So thank you everyone for listening, checking us out. Everyone that listens, if you could share this with just one friend, that would mean the world to us. Yeah, we just want to get as many people listening as we can. We have a Twitter. We used to have a website. I don't know if it's up anymore. By the time you listen to this, we might have it up. But our Twitter is Brothers Commonplace.
Yeah, we're also on YouPorn and RedTube also. So
Well,
we're
you're
just-
on there all the time.
I was on there on my phone during the podcast. If that's what you're talking about, but
Don't forget, take time out of your day, and if you see a stranger, a friend, or even yourself in the mirror, just smile and be happy.
I like that.
Okay,
I like
all
that
right,
too.
I like that.
I like that. Also, when you're getting ready to go to bed, turn down everything, don't listen to anything, and just check to see if there's chisels at your goddamn door.
And apparently, it's a really good like alibi. If someone does get murdered in the next room, just say, "Hey, I thought they was taking a shit."
That's the one I always use.
Alrighty, take care, everyone.
We'll see you.